How are you, Travis Jones?
I'm fantastic, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good. Enjoy your Christmas day.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was great with the boys, presents and food, and yeah, man, like Christmas is fun.
Yeah, saw some happy snaps at the beach, classic Aussie style.
That's what it's all about.
Mate, I thought what better way to finish the year off than a conversation with a topic like this one. So, as we know, personal trainers, they start the year, gym owners, they're pumped, they've got all these big goals. But honestly, 90% of them, maybe more, maybe less, don't hit their goals. Maybe they get close, or maybe they don't get anywhere near it. But like, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think the majority of people don't hit their goals that they set at the start of the year? Because everyone sets high expectations for themselves, right?
I think it's like New Year's resolutions, right? We feel so excited at the start of the year that, this year is going to be the year and I'm going to,
Yeah.
read the books. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to take action. I'm going to do all the stuff that I need to do. And then all of a sudden, February hits or March hits or a problem hits or an obstacle. And we don't have clarity on how to push through the obstacle because essentially that's what it is, right? It's clarity that allows you to keep going. And because all of a sudden we don't have clarity, we lack the discipline then because we don't feel like we have the momentum. It's easy once you have momentum to stay disciplined, right? But because we don't have the momentum then I think people just sort of fall by the wayside and they're like, it's too hard, or I'm going to justify or I'll make excuses or I'll blame people. They fall into that sort of victim state as to why they're not going to achieve their goals. And then essentially they just set smaller, shitty goals.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it's an issue with goal setting, or because I think actually that I look at you because you're very public with your goals. I think if people go on your Facebook, they'll be able to see your goals from maybe like the last 4 or 5 years, right? And the truth be told, you don't hit every one of your goals, but you set some pretty big goals, right?
No, man. Like I set massive goals. That's the thing, right? So even when I don't hit my big goals, I'm like, you know what? I still crushed it. I think I wanted like 30 gyms by the end of this year. We have 21. But I set like 2 years ago, right? But I set goals so big that even if I miss my goals, I'm doing okay. And, I can't always see every obstacle, but, this year for me, man, like, we didn't hit the goals we wanted to achieve. Like we wanted to open up sort of, I think it was 10 gyms this year. We opened up 6 gyms this year, or 5 to 6 gyms this year. So we didn't hit it, but I got hit in the face with this massive obstacle. And as Mike Tyson would says, like everyone has a plan until you get punched in the fucking face. And I did. I got punched in the face and I had to pivot. I had to, step back for a second, reassess, go, these goals I need to actually push out 6 months and we'll hit them in the first 6 months of next year, reevaluate and move forward. That's okay, but it's not, for us, it's not going to sit in the corner and go, oh, well, woe is me. That's not what it's about. I think for everyone, you have to set these big goals. You have to set goals that kind of frighten you a little bit because your goals can't be based off who you are today. Your goals have to be based off who you need to become to achieve your goals. And then the scary part is most people don't become anyone else. They just stay themselves.
Have you done both? Have you in the past set like goals, but like achievable? Because there's the whole SMART goals things, like realistic, achievable. Have you done them, or have you always set like crazy goals that like no one would even think about setting?
Man, like I always set crazy goals. This is me though, that most people say, man, you're not going to fucking achieve that. And like, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but because I set these stretch goals, right? These goals that like stretch me outside my comfort zone, they force me to up level. And if I'm like, I normally set it back like once a year. I normally actually do it around March, April. And I'm like a quarter into the year, like that first 90 days. And I work my year through 90-day chunks. And I'm 90 days in and I have to sort of assess this end of the first quarter. I'm like, am I the person I need to be to achieve all that I want to achieve this year? And I'll sort of sit there 1 or 2 days by myself and I sort of lock myself away. And then it's like, no, I'm not, or I need to get to the next version of me. And what does the next version of me look like? And I'll sort of journal it and I'll write down. It's like, when I look at my character traits, who do I know to, where do I need to up level, or my leadership traits, or my culture and my team development, or maybe it could just be my productivity. And I look at who I am and who I need to be. And I'll sort of go, okay, I've got, 3 lots of 90 days left in the year, and how can I become the person I need to be to achieve the goals? Because writing down, I want to achieve these goals. We have this, when you write down the goals, you have this like kick of like the rush. It's like, yes, we feel good writing the goals down, right? And then we constantly want to keep writing the goals down because it makes us feel good, but doing the work doesn't make us feel good. But also sometimes we want to write these goals down. It's like, I'm going to make $1 million gym, for example, but that we don't actually reflect and go, okay, who do I need to become to run $1 million gym? Or who do I need to become to have $1 million gym? Like, what skill levels do I have currently, and what skill levels do I need to acquire? Because that gives you clarity. What disciplines do I have now? What bad character traits do I need to let go of, and how am I going to let them go? Because there has to be like a not to do list, not just a to do list.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, like, let's talk about a not to do list for 2019, because a lot of people listening here, they've set themselves, like I've done this in the past. It's like, I'm going to do this every day, post this many times on social media per week, and I'm going to, film this many videos per week. And yet you set yourself like things that you think will bring you up to the next level, and you set yourself habits, right? Because we all know we should do habits. But I think a lot of people don't think about the not to do list, like the things that they need to stop doing, which are keeping them stuck, right? So, like, in your head, like off the top of your head, what's like one of the main things, or first two things people need to stop doing if they really want to like excel next year, really transition from mediocre 2018 to like, wow, 2019, like massive breakthrough? What do they need to stop doing?
Blaming people for their downfalls. No, seriously, man. Like, I think if you can, every time you catch yourself making excuses or blaming other people, you got to stop. And it's like, okay, I'm like, did you get 100 leads this month? And they're like, oh, stop. It's not because Facebook's fault. Zuckerberg didn't stop you doing it. You can walk the streets to get the 100 leads. Like, if you stop making excuses or blaming anyone, like, you're 100% going to move dramatically forward to achieving your goals. And we do it out of habit. Like, we need to stop making excuses. That is 100%. Like, there is no one that's going to hold you back but yourself. You got to stop blaming people for, you not achieving anything in life. You got to stop negative talk. 100%. Like, that's another one. I feel that, so many people start to tell themselves, oh, you can't do that, or you're not good enough, or, you can't achieve this, or you don't deserve that as well. Or we start saying, if people start feeling this like imposter syndrome, it's like, I shouldn't have success. So they start to sabotage themselves again. Like, your internal dialogue is so crucial. You need to, on the flip side, you need to have your whether it be your affirmations or, your positive self-talk or your gratitude. But I think you have to stop negative self-talk 100%. You got to stop.
Do you have problems with that stuff? Oh, I know you don't have problems with it, but like, do negative self-talk ever creep in your head? Does imposter syndrome still like rear its head sometimes? Like, because you've been at it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Man,
like, how do you deal with that? Like, because it's something that I noticed with you and Liv, your wife, your partner, business partner. Like, you guys are really good at not fucking overcomplicating shit and going and like not trying to figure stuff out too much. Like, you're just like, all right, I'm feeling like a little bit of imposter syndrome. Who cares? All right, what am I going to do now? Like, instead of like a lot of people like dwell on it, I'm like, oh no, I need to hire a psychologist coach to help me with imposter syndrome, and I need to like, read 1,000 books to help me with imposter syndrome before they do anything. And it's just like, what observing you guys, like, you just do the opposite. But I guess I want to hear firsthand from like how you guys deal with it.
Man, like it's so funny, right? Like I feel like I am not worthy so much. Like I tell, it's like, oh, do want people want to listen to you, or like should you have a $12 million company? Like like I ask myself all the time. It's like, oh, but your cost per lead is like $20 average cost per lead now. Should you really be talking about this? It's like, yeah, but I do it across like 3,000 leads a month. Like I ask myself these questions, and then I'm like, well, if I don't share my journey, then I'm not serving society. So I have to come from it from a different angle. It's like it's not about you. And when you have self-negative talk, when you have imposter syndrome, we're focused on ourselves. And when we stop focusing on ourselves and start focusing on society, start focusing on service, start focusing on gratitude, it's like, fuck off, man. Like you should be lucky that you get to talk to people, because you should be lucky that you get to serve people, because some people can't. So it's flipping it from stop being so fucking selfish. And it's like, it's self-negative talk. That's selfish. Like if you keep thinking about yourself, then like that's going to be a downfall. It's like you need to think about it. It's like, no, I'm thinking about it as service, not selfish. And that gets me out of it, because I know that one person will watch this video, or one person will listen to me do a seminar, or one person will see that Insta story where I'm trying to, tell them what I'm going through, and they'll be like, fuck, life changed. And it just moves the needle like 1 degree. And that 1 degree can, each day can set someone off on a completely different path for the rest of 2019.
That's really interesting, because it's kind of like a paradox. The two things that we first said for you not to do is like, the first one is like, or that one is not focusing on yourself, focusing on others. Because if you've got imposter syndrome, or negative self-talk, don't focus on yourself. But then the first one you said was, don't blame others, take self-responsibility. And I love that, because I don't think like this stuff, business and stuff, is simple. I don't think it should be simpler than it is. And I think like a lot of business books and a lot of gurus out there try and make it simpler than it is. But this idea of paradoxes, like holding two different sides of the equation that are kind of like contradictory, is really important. So you need to be completely selfish in the sense of taking full responsibility and not concentrating on others, and not concentrating on what they're doing wrong, and just focusing on what you're doing wrong. But then you also need to be like, okay, I can't think about myself at all. I got to think about others, and I got to not worry about my negative self-talk and not try and overanalyze it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, man, 100%. I think people sit there so long and they think there's something wrong with them. So they have to have a mindset coach or something like that. It's like, you don't need a fucking mindset coach. You need to just take some action, because you saying, oh, I need a mindset coach to push through this, that's an excuse. Just push through it. Like you're looking for justifications in your current sphere of like influence to justify why you can't achieve that. Because as soon as we can justify it, we're like, oh, I feel good. It's like someone looking at it's like, oh, I'm overweight because I'm big boned. It's like, no, motherfucker. We all have the same bones. Like, you're not big boned. You just got to eat less and move more. And it's like we're looking for justifications, right? So it's like, you don't need a mindset coach. You just need to take action. You don't need anything. You just need to take action. Yes, you can start doing stuff faster, but we're in a motion. So we're like just in motion, more than action. So action is you're actually doing things. Motion is you're like trying to figure out how to do things. So many times it's like why people want to read book after book after book, or do course after course after course, because it feels good to be in motion. But then you're waiting for the perfect moment to take action. There's never a fucking perfect moment. So you have to be in motion, part one. Part two, be in action. Be in motion, part two, and then keep going back and forth. Motion, action, motion, action. And I think that also helps, because a lot of us sit in motion too much during the week, so we don't take enough action. And because motion feels good, it feels like you're doing something, but you're not actually being productive. You're just being busy.
I'll tell you what doesn't feel good is like doing the shit tasks that you have to do, like doing the tasks like that are outside your comfort zone. And so it feels so much better just to buy another product, or like go watch another YouTube video and get really inspired. Like, it feels great because it's so fucking easy. But to actually sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to have to do this thing. Oh, I hate doing this. Like, it's hard. I don't quite understand it. I don't think I'm good at it. I feel like I'm an imposter. Again, like it's just the difference between the 10% of people that hit their goals and the 90% of people that set goals but don't achieve them is the 90% are concentrating on feeling good. That's why they set goals,
Yeah.
because setting goals feels great. Oh, I'm going to hit $1 million this year. It's going to be great. But
Because
then,
there's consumers and there's producers, man. And most people are consumers. There's not enough producers in the world. So if you shift from a consumer mindset to like a production mindset or a producing mindset, that means you're producing the content. You're actually serving society. By consuming, you're not serving society. You're taking from society. So you need to start producing more on a 1-to-1 ratio. So then you're actually giving service, and the more you serve, okay, the more money you'll make. It's simple, right? There's a direct correlation. And then there's the competency hierarchy, right? Where it's like the more competent you are at something, the more money you'll make. So now it comes down to, okay, I need to become more competent. So I need to consume to become more competent, but then I need to serve to then make more money. So like those two come together, and like it's just get fucking competent and then be in action, and you'll start making more money, and just stop fucking consuming, but you're actually producing.
it's another paradox, right? So this is good. So we've got the first two not to do things. So the first two habits is like, not blame others and to focus on yourself and take responsibility for yourself. But then the second one is stop thinking about yourself, focusing on helping other people. And if you're getting caught in your mindset and you're worried about your own mindset and you're asking, like Tony Robbins talks about, asking shitty questions. So stop asking yourself shitty questions like, why am I stuck? Stop asking yourself shitty questions like, why do I feel like an imposter? Because you're never going to get anywhere with those questions. Instead, focus on what you're saying is helping other people and putting them first ahead of your own negative bullshit and your own negative self-talk. But now you're saying the next one is stop producing, another habit. I mean, stop consuming. That's another habit to not do in 2019. Stop consuming. But at the same time, you need to have that growth mindset where you're like, well, I need to level up. So maybe being a bit more sensitive around like what content you consume. Like don't go on YouTube just to like watch some videos.
Stop scrolling Instagram, because you get stuck in this loop, right? That's why YouTube, it just keeps going to the next video. That's why Facebook and Instagram, it's just constant feeds, because they're getting
Netflix as well.
Consuming. It's nonstop. It's literally nonstop. They understand if it is nonstop, they'll keep you consuming. So I think it's like the dichotomy, right? There's this same as leadership. You need to micromanage, but you need to give free will. And it's understanding where you need to sit on the spectrum. It's where you need to sit on the spectrum of consumption and production. It's where you need to sit on the spectrum of, taking ownership, but then also just taking action. You have to understand, okay, when do I need to produce more? When do I need to consume more? When do I need to take more ownership? When do I need to just serve? This is the dichotomy that people sit inside of. And over 2019, people need more emotional intelligence to go, where do I need to sit right now to make sure I hit my goals?
I think people get so caught up in the like helping other people because they'll do a Facebook Live or they'll do, like a webinar or something, and like only 1 or 2 people will show up. Like look at us right now. Like we're doing a podcast right now. We're doing it live in the Roadmap to $1 Million Facebook group. We've got 2 people watching. So g'day those 2 people. But, we know we're going to distribute this to more people. But at the same time, even if we didn't, it doesn't matter because we know that those 2 people watching right now are going to get a lot of value from this. And I remember we've talked about this on previous episodes, but you said that when you were struggling to make money and you were concentrating on trying to make more money, you like stayed stagnant. But then as soon as you switched your focus to helping other people instead of focusing on money, all of a sudden you was making more money than you could ever thought possible. And so, another habit to stop doing in 2019 is stop focusing on making money. Instead, focus on helping people and do it in a way where, all right, if each day I have a goal to help one person, at the end of the year, you've got 365 people that you've helped. Like that's only 1 per day. Like that's the minimum. Like if you're really, really crap at what you do and you only get 1 person per day, you've still helped 365 people by the end of that year. And then at the end of that year, 365 people that you've really helped, how many of them have become a client? Maybe like 50 out of that 365. like 50 people, 50 new clients is pretty incredible for a business, right? That could be
Exactly,
game
man. I think
changing.
it could be. I think the biggest thing is like, 2019, like I think people are going through a shift, and it's we're product sellers, but it's like, no, you have to make a shift to become a problem solver. The better quality or the higher quality of problems that you solve is the more money you make. And I tell people all the time, it's like, have a $3,000 product, okay? And whether if you're a personal trainer, it's like, okay, cool, it's $3,000 for the year of PT, $3,000 for the year of group PT. It could be 6 months for personal training. I don't really care how you get this $3,000. I really don't care, right? But have this sort of $3,000 product. Okay, I want to make $1 million. Okay, I need 333 clients, but I want you to have a minimum $3,000 product. And they're like, oh, but what if I'm not worth that? And it's like, okay, that comes down to your own self-worth. But also, too, like the second thing is like, if you solve a better quality problem, you make $3,000. You're just probably solving shit problems. So solve better problems. What type of problem would I need to solve to make $3,000? And that's a question. And it's not like I'm not focusing on the money right now. It's like, okay, cool. I know this now. Now I have a product that I am going to be selling. It's my 6-month transformation program, or it's my 1 year transformation program, whatever the fuck it is. I don't care. But how many problems do I need to solve to sell one of those products? And if you go out there and you're solving 365 problems a year, maybe you solve 1,000 problems. And out of that, 33% of those problems you solve, they buy your product, and then you make $1 million business.
Stop playing small, yeah? Like, that's a good habit to stop.
Yeah, like solve 3 problems a day. Like, fuck, just show up every day, and you could go, you know what, today I'm going to solve 3 problems a day. Like, that's what you did. If you just solve 3 problems a day, your fucking life would change.
And it comes back to how much you care about your clients as well. Because if you care about your own bullshit, like, oh, I could never sell something that expensive, or I could never do that. Again, you're worrying about your own bullshit and your own self-talk more than helping the other person. Like Jay Abraham, who's the $1 billion man, extremely smart consultant. And he talks about the strategy of preeminence, which sounds complicated, but basically, if a guy's been in the desert for 6 months and he walks into your pub and he's desperate for water, give him some water, but also give him like saline, give him like medications to rehydrate him, give him everything that he needs, which will best help his health. Give him rehabilitation, get him massage for his legs. Jay Abraham says the business owner, the pub owner that is too worried about himself, just gives him some water, is because he's worried that all the other upsells the guy will turn away. But Jay Abraham's saying, no, don't think about yourself. Think about, well, what's best for this guy? This guy's stuck in the desert for 6 months. He needs all of this stuff. He needs medication. He needs rehabilitation. He needs all this sort of stuff. And it's your duty as the expert, as the business owner, to give it to him. And so how this relates to personal trainers is, if you're just giving someone a $47 ebook or something like that, and you're expecting them to change their life and turn their life around, like they've been overweight for decades. They've struggled with self-worth for decades, and you're just saying, oh, I'll give them a 28-day challenge, but I'm too scared to upsell them into my long-term course. No, fuck no. Like, if you actually care about them, you will not let them leave until they sign a 1-year contract, because you know that throughout that year, you are going to change their life physically. You're going to change their life mentally. You're going to introduce them to a new community of supportive people that will just change every aspect of their life. And the business owners that, are just so worried about themselves, so worried about being rejected, stop doing that. That's a great habit to stop.
Oh, it's so true, man. I think like when we're looking at the strategy of preeminence, like you have to ask yourself, like, if I was on the receiving end of this, would I want it? It's like, I probably wouldn't want a $47 ebook. I really wouldn't. And then it's like, why would you want to take advantage of that offer? Like, what's at that particular time? Like, what's in it for me? They have to be thinking, like, what is in it for me? Sometimes you have to put yourself into that client's shoes and go, if I could get everything that could guarantee, because people want guaranteed results. If I could get guaranteed, results, like, what would I have to do? Maybe you have to walk up to their house and wipe their ass. I don't really care. Like, if that was what was going to get the results, like, that's one of the things. And you might then scale it back. If I could give them everything, I was going to cook their food. I was going to do their shopping. I was going to turn up, drive them to the gym. I was like doing all the, like, what would that be worth? Okay, that would be worth like $30,000 a year. All this stuff. I was gonna like bring in a massage therapist. I was, gonna, like, whenever they said I don't feel like it, I'd poke them with a stick. I don't know, like, but when you go, okay, that's worth $30,000, and it's like, okay, what can I take out that's worth like 20,000 for the year? What can I take out that's worth 10,000? And what am I left with that's worth 3,000? Okay. And that's your $3,000 product. You have to think about it like it's reverse engineering the $3,000, but it's not like what can I get in there to make it 3,000? You're thinking about it wrong. What can I add in there? What's the maximum I could put in there? Like, fuck, there's 1,000-pound burgers. There's 1,000-pound kebab, right? Like, if they're selling 1,000-pound kebabs, like, you can sell a $3,000 personal training session or $3,000 personal training package. Like, come on, man. Like, like, start thinking it like that instead. And the more someone's willing to pay, and you're like, oh, but that costs a lot of money. I was like, I hope it costs a lot of money. I hope it hurts people's pockets when they pay me. And it's not because I'm a dick. It's because, like, okay, that means you're going to take this seriously. And the more someone's paying, and the more like, oh, that actually cost me some money. I got to think about that. And then you go, no, yep, I'm solving a problem. This is actually costing you money. How much is it costing you to not have this problem solved? And then, like, okay, yeah, I should go ahead with it. But it's like, if you don't hurt them a little bit in the pocket, then they're just shopping on price, or they're shopping on proximity. And then when someone else comes in with a cheaper price or with a better proximity, better location, or it's easier access, they'll leave on proximity and price as well. But if they're buying based on problem solving, they're buying based on your experience, then they're willing to pay $3,000 every day of the week, because all of a sudden you're not selling on features anymore. You're selling on the experience that you're creating. And people will pay anything for the right experience and the right problem solving, right? That's why people buy fucking first class tickets. It's why people buy business class tickets. But then some people still buy economy. And those people that buy economy are shopping around for fucking, the cheapest possible economy ticket a lot of the time as well. And they're like on Skyscanner going through, it's like all the rest of it. It's like, for us, like, it's not just like, we're not trying to spit bills, but then you start choosing. It's like, we don't want to fly at certain times of the day because of the kids. Or when we fly, anything over 7 hours, 100% we'll fly business class, because for us, it's about the experience now. And people will pay more for experience, and that's what 2019 is. It's the experience game.
Yeah, spot on. I think I was going to say you guys are a classic example. Like, around our office, right? There's so many like marketing products and business psychology products that like still have the plastic on it, because like, you've bought them, but because it's like a $10 product, it's like, oh well, I'll get around to reading it eventually, right? But if these people actually understood this concept and like upsold you and said, Trav, like, I've got this $10 product, but what you really need for your business and your gyms, you need to come to this day, this special seminar day. It's $10,000 for the day, but like, we're going to solve this problem, complex problems, that sort of thing. Like, of course you would be like, yeah, fuck yeah. That's exactly what I want. I don't want like to read some $10 book like that I might get one nugget out of, but it's going to take me 10 days to get through because it's just filled with absolute jargon, so to make sure it's 300 pages long, as all the business books do. But I think people need to realize that there's a lot of people out there, and you say this a lot, Trav, like, you are not your customer, and you got to realize that just the way you buy things and the way you spend things and the way you look at money doesn't mean that everyone acts that way. There's some people that just like, they want the best thing. And if you don't come to them and show them confidence that you've got the best, they'll just move on. They'll just go somewhere else, because they don't want $87 discounted to $67 a week thing. Like, they don't give a crap. They just want the best result, and they don't want to waste time, because that's what the next level thinkers are worried about. Not worried about price. They're worried about time and results.
Well, 100%, man. I think that's the biggest thing people have to understand. And some people might be listening to this right now going, roll their eyes and say, my people are not going to spend $3,000. The end number is irrelevant, guys. It might be 2,000, 1,000, whatever it is. I don't really care. But the what we're trying to get across is like you can find the niche market that's willing to pay you for it. And you can be in the volume business, and that's okay. Like RBT is like 200, 250 members per location. We are in somewhat of the volume business, but we're like 87 a week to 77 to 87 a week. We're not like $10 a week. Okay, so we don't need like 1,000 members. We need like 200 to 250 members. Or you could be in even a higher margin. It could be $200 or $300 a week, and you do like 20 to 30 members, and it could be that. And you could have these mini boutique studios or whatever it is. Like that's another way of looking at it. Like it's irrelevant where you're at, but you're choosing volume, okay, if you want, or you can choose niche, or you can choose super niche. Like that's up to you as well. But either way, you have to be producing to even more. If you're going super niche, you got to produce more. Okay, like so you got to produce so much more because they're like, fuck, okay, they are the specialists, they're an authority in the marketplace. And if you're super niche, that's where you got to sit. You have to be like kind of like a specialist when you're in a niche space, because like, yeah, they're good at specific stuff, like we're good at body transformations. But if you're in essentially a volume based business, then you're just a generalist. And like I said, you're competing on price or proximity.
Well, yeah, RBT has the upsells, right? So even though you've got like a mass amount of clients all around from all your locations, you've got the retreats that you can upsell people into, and those retreats are $2,000-$3,000 each as well. That's giving people an amazing experience overseas, right? Exactly. But then there's also like talking about niche, like there's that guy in the UK who he has 4 spots available each year for London CEOs, and it's $80,000 a year, and he only has 4 spots, and he does everything for them. He prepares their meals, he delivers their meals, he trains with them, he picks them up, drops them off, drives them to their gym, drives them to the office, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, he has 4 spots. He's got a waiting list, so as soon as one of those spots goes, he has someone else come in. Yeah, and he's getting paid 4 times 80,000. He's earning $320,000 a year, right? And he's only got 4 clients. But it's just proof that it can work and it can happen. I can't remember that guy's name, but when I heard his story, I was just like, this guy gets it, right? This guy gets it.
Yeah, man, and it's not being a dick either, right? Like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna be a dick and I'm gonna charge more than people can afford. It's like it's not that. Like, so don't take this the wrong way. And if that's the way you think what we're trying to say, you're like, okay, cool. Maybe you need to actually do some self work. But what we're trying to say is you have to actually charge what you're worth. And if you're transforming lives, if you're problem solving, the high quality problem and the better you are at problem solving, the higher up the competency ladder you are, and the more you need to charge for people to take you realistic or actually listen to you.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So have we got any more not to do habits? Actually, I've got one. 2019, a not to do habit is stop hitting snooze on your alarm. And the reason why this is important is not only do you get up earlier and you get more shit done when you get up earlier, it's actually pretty amazing what happens when you start getting up earlier. But what are you telling yourself when you're hitting that snooze alarm every time, your alarm goes off each day? Like, how does that help your self-talk? When you told yourself the night before, oh, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m., I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., and then the alarm goes off and you go, oh, just 10 more minutes sleep, just 10 more minutes sleep. Oh, just 10 more minutes after that. Oh, shit, I'm late for my first client. You told yourself you were going to get up early. You told yourself you were going to meditate, or you're going to get yourself in the zone, or you're going to read, or you're going to upskill your life in some way. And then you completely backflipped on that promise to yourself. Like, how does that go for your mindset? How does that change the way you talk to yourself, right? And vice versa. What happens if you get up every morning at 4:30 or 5 a.m., and you train or you learn or you meditate every single day? What kind of person have you become 90 days from then, 6 months from then?
Yeah, man. I think it's the micro lies. The micro lies is what, bring down you as a person. Or, when we're looking at Darren Hardy wrote the compound effect, right? These micro wins will give you the body transformation. They'll give you the business transformation. No one really thinks, oh, it's like say, for example, doing sales calls. No one thinks, oh, I can't get in the zone today doing my sales calls. So you don't do them. And it's like, that doesn't really make a difference. It does make a difference because that one micro lie can lead to another micro lie and another micro lie. It's like, 2 days out of 5 or, 3 days out of 7. And then all of a sudden it's like, 12 days out of the month and it starts to compound and you're like, oh, I didn't get my results. It's like you didn't get your results because you were making these micro lies again and again and again. And it's just like hitting snooze. It's like, I'm going to wake up and then you don't. It's like, that's a micro lie. And when you stop lying to yourself, you'll actually get success in life. And, that's why you need an accountability buddy. That's why you need accountability to someone. It's why I do post my goals, publicly, because people know my public failures and people know my public successes. And I'm happy for people to ride me and grind on me when I publicly fail. But yeah, if you're going to squash me when I publicly fail, you're going to fucking rally behind me when I publicly succeed as well. I think that's what I love because 100% I succeed fucking more than I fail. And I think that's what annoys people as well. Like it really does. We get annoyed when, like, for myself, right? And I didn't go to university. Like I didn't understand. Like I'm not the smartest dude, so like I'm the underdog for all intensive purposes, right? Like I didn't have cash. I sold my car. I lived in my gym, and when you rise to success and we get to an 8-figure business and now I'm the underdog to the 9-figure business, and I'm always playing the underdog mentally for me. And like when people get there, they actually get pissed off with you. I get unfriended or defriended on Facebook by about 10 people a week. And it might be because I'm just annoying as fuck, but I think it's more so like I like to tell myself, like, I think your success rubs people up the wrong way because they look at you and they have exactly the same tools or resources as you do, yet you're having more success than they are. So they're like, fuck you. It's easier to not hate on people who are given a silver spoon and gifted everything in life. And because then you can justify and make excuses to yourself. It's like, yeah, he's a success or she's a success because they were given it. But when someone wasn't given success and they had to overcome obstacles and they still achieve success, they're like, fuck you, they cheated. And people don't like that. And I think for everyone in here, like if we start thinking more abundantly with our mindset, success will come to us also. So I think that's another shift in 2019. Stop being envious of other people's success. I think that's a crucial thing because envy comes across as a scarcity mindset, and it's like, oh, like there's like a lack of resources being clientele. There's not a lack of resources. There is more. If we're looking in the weight loss niche, there is more overweight people than ever before. We are losing the battle against obesity. I please more personal trainers come into the industry because we need you, and we need more quality personal trainers, people who want to study, who want to get better, who want to actually do the work and change their lives, who want to provide and produce, and they want to actually give service and they want to problem solve. So guys, 2019, stop the micro lies, get up on time, produce the work, and actually serve society, and stop being envious and actually share abundantly with as many people as you fucking can the knowledge you have, because that is when you'll probably start making more money.
Well, yes, they form into each other, the micro lies, like the little lies that you don't realize you're lying. Like I encourage people to just put a mark on their hand every single time during the day you catch yourself like coming up with a micro lie. Like, so maybe like, you're going to be late to a meeting or something, or maybe like, you didn't do the thing that you said you would for your wife. And you think about it and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to do that thing. And then what a lot of people do, like what I was doing was I was like immediately coming up with like a little micro lie, which would be like, oh, what can I say to make it sound like I'm not such a shit person, to my wife. And it seems like harmless, right? But it doesn't when you actually think about it out loud. But I was shocked because I feel like I'm a very truthful person. I was shocked at the amount of times I would automatically go into excuse making mode. I would automatically what micro lie can I come up with? And once I stopped those micro lies, it's amazing how much that transitions into the next phase about the big lies that we're telling ourselves. And that comes back to what you're talking about with envy and with you're talking about sales calls and leads. So many people go, oh, they're getting good leads. They're getting a hold of all their leads, but all my leads are shit. All my leads I can't get a hold of. And when you lie to yourself on a micro level so much, it's so easy to buy into that bigger lie as a full-on belief. It's so easy to be like, no, these leads, they're just crap leads. But in reality, the best clients that we have, the best gym owners, they never have an issue with getting onto leads. And it's funny that, isn't it? They're always able to get onto the leads. RBT, always able to get onto the leads. But then the worst clients, the clients that struggle the most, and the PTs that struggle the most, they just say, oh, the leads are crap, the leads are weak. And they believe that lie. And it's so hard to tell someone that that's not true because they're so used to lying to themselves in so many different ways. I was lying to myself 20, 30 times a day without realizing it. And just little lies that had nothing to do with anything. Maybe some lies were a little bit bigger. But because I wasn't pulling myself up on those little lies, I wasn't realizing when I was lying for real, big time lies. It was so easy to blame everyone else, blame everything outside of myself. And so, yeah, I agree. 2019, stop the micro lies, and then consequently stop the lies that you're forming around everything else. And it comes back to the first one, which is taking responsibility, right?
Yeah, it's so true, man. For us, the sales thing kind of, it's a pain point of mine because and I always trying to help people get better and better at it. I'm always trying to tweak the system so I can get them more sales with them having to do a fucking phone call. But when you're in the, and it's not always, you don't always have to do phone calls, guys. So don't get me wrong with this. The more specialized you are and the more of an authority, the less phone calls you got to do. If I had one gym, I remember when I had one gym, I had to do hardly any phone calls. I'd be people would rock up for a seminar. I'd be post a status, get 100 people to a seminar. I'd sell 40 people at once and never do a fucking phone call. But now, but that's okay. But guys, if you can't post a status or can't post on your social media and you can't get 100 people turning up for a seminar, it's okay, cool. Maybe I'm not an authority. And it's okay, start producing more content, become an authority, and you can start to sell like that. But until you can sell like that, then you need to start picking up the phone and you need to start dialing the numbers. And when someone's oh, they're just not picking, they're not answering, it's okay, well, it takes on average 11 to 15 times to get hold of someone. Are you calling them 3 times a day? It's no. It's are you calling them 15 times this week? Did you text them twice a day to try and get hold of them? And some people are thinking this is oh, this is pretty intense. It's yeah, 100% it's intense. These people registered for you to change their life. So you got to go out of your fucking way to try and get hold of them to change their life. They had this moment inside of them where they sold this ad on their newsfeed or in Instagram or it was in Facebook or a Google ad. And it's especially when it's patent interrupt marketing, not Google where they're looking to search you out. And it's they see this offer from you. Yeah, there was this moment inside of them where they were I could do this. I need help. And then you have to go out of your way to actually help them. If not, you're like every other person that's let them down. And it is emailing each day. It is sending a text twice a day. It is calling 3 times a day. You'll normally get hold of them after the 3rd day, 15 times later. And most people they'll call once a day, if that. And after 4 days, they'll stop calling. And it's yeah, I tried to call them 4 times and I left a voicemail. No one fucking listens to voicemails. I 100% don't. So, and then a lot of people don't even listen to, if it's a private number or if it's a number they don't have, they don't answer. So that's why you got to follow up with a text message and send me a video MMS. I don't even know if they're called MMSs anymore. Who knows? Send them a video message.
I remember.
Yeah, send a video message. It's like, hey, it's TJ here from RBT. Just want to reach out. You registered for our 28-day challenge. I want to change your lives. Like Sally, hold up a sign. She dropped 7 kilos in 28 days. Pull another one up. Like Judy, she dropped 9 kilos in 28 days. Anyway, I'm not some creep. Just send me a text back and let me know when you want to have a chat about the 28-day challenge. Send a video message like that. They'll think you're funny if that's you authentically. Okay, that's me authentically. And so people can see if you're being authentic or not. And they'll send you a text back, and that's fine. Like my last text message I send out to people, on like day 5, day 6, like we send it out at RBT. It's like, hey, Liam, just want to make sure you're okay. I'm reaching out because I've tried to call you 14 times and tried to text you 4 times. And I've also emailed you. The only thought that I could have for your non-response is you're currently trapped under a filing cabinet without water and you need help. Please text me back for me to know you're okay. And like that's like the last text message we send back. And we'll normally sometimes we'll get a couple of texts like, fuck off, mate. A lot of the time they'll text back and they'll be like, honestly, that text message is one of the funniest text messages I've had in a while. So like, let's just jump on the phone. Or, oh, yeah, sorry, thanks for being persistent. People actually start thanking you for being persistent. And that's what you want. And it's like, you had to do like 20 contacts to make that happen. Like our sales guys, we got a sales team of 4 at the moment. We're growing it back out to 7. We had 7 before, but our sales team of 4 sold $100,000 worth of like 28-day challenges, intro challenges, okay, in the last 10 days, like between the 11th and the 21st of December. So before Christmas, they sold 400. They're at like 490 right now. Their goal was over like 20 days to sell like 600 sales. But in 10 days, they sold 400 sales leading up to Christmas. And most people are like, oh, you can't make sales before Christmas. It's like, yeah, we made $100,000 of the sales. Our sales guys, between the 4 of them, made 100 sales each. They were making like 10 sales a day, right? They were crushing it. So don't make the excuse when you're just not putting in the work. And I understand sometimes leads can be frustrating and dialing can be, monotonous, but like, that's business sometimes. The boring shit, you just wake up and you do it, because that's how athletes win gold medals. They do the boring shit again and again and again. They don't do the exciting shit. Hey, here's a new fucking tactic that makes you faster over 100 meters and go like that. No, they fucking did the drills every day, and then they win gold medals. So guys, do the drills every day and you'll win $1 million business in 2019.
Everything we were just talking about, like, can be applied to the sales mindset. It's like, stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about being uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want to bug people. Oh, again, you're fucking focusing on yourself. Like, TJ, you're talking about people who thank you for that message, that text message. Like, we named it what do we name it? The genuine concerned reach out message. It's actually into our system. Like when we can't get a hold of a client after a few days, we send them the genuine concern text message, which is like, hey man, yeah, exactly. Hey man, we're actually really worried about you. We've sent you all these messages and you haven't replied. Like the least you could do is just give me some respect and tell me that you're okay. And like everyone replies, and like so many people thank you for following up. They're just like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been really busy. And I get that because like this happened to me. Like American Express were ringing me to try and upgrade my card to the business platinum or whatever it was. And like they got onto me a couple of times. It was a bad time. I'm just like, oh, sorry. Like just ring me back at a different time. And like I reckon it took like 2 or 3 weeks. They rang me like 25 times, and I knew the number every time they rang me. And I'm like, oh, I can't answer right now. I'm busy. But then I answered like on the 25th time because I was like, oh, this actually is a good time. And I answered, and I was just like, dude, like, thank you for actually keep ringing me, because I did actually want to upgrade my card. I just didn't have the time to talk to you guys and go through the whole process. And they were like, yeah, no worries. That's great. And so when you understand that people actually do want to get followed up on, whether it's by text message or whether it's by phone, like they wouldn't have opted into your thing if they weren't struggling. Like they wouldn't have applied for your challenge or your program if they weren't struggling. So they are struggling. They also lead busy lives. And so if you just text them or call them once or twice and they don't pick up, and then you go, oh, they're a crap lead, like you're telling yourself a lie. You're putting yourself first. You're not looking after the client. You're not looking after what their needs are. So much of what we talked about can can be distilled down into sales calls. And yeah, that's the truth behind sales calls, really. Like, it's hard truths to swallow, right?
Yeah, sometimes just putting in the time. It's nothing fucking fancy, right?
How about like hourly rate around sales calls? Like people say, like, I don't have time to do sales calls. And it's like, dude, if you ring someone who's finished your challenge and like they become a year-long member and pay you $100 a week, that's $5,000 that you earn for that sales call. So you make 5 calls and you only get one person signing up to the $5,000. That means you made $1,000 per call. Like, tell me a better hourly rate than that. Like, obviously, it doesn't work exactly like that because you have to deliver the service and all that sort of thing. But like, name another task that can immediately add a year-long $5,000 client in 1 hour or whatever it takes to call people. Like, there's no other tasks out there that can do that. So when people say like, oh, I don't have time to do sales calls or I need to outsource my sales calls, again, lies. Just so many lies.
It's like, what's your hourly rate for scrolling fucking Instagram?
Or reading that
you're
book.
There for, like, you're there. Literally, open up your phone right now. Look at the usage of the app Instagram. It's like, trust me, man. Like, it takes 20 seconds to post. Right? Like, but how much time you're spending? Probably 7 hours a week scrolling that shit. Like 7 hours a week is like probably, minimum 7 sales. That's minimum an extra $1,000 a week. That's minimum an extra $50,000 a year. Are you getting paid $50,000 a year to scroll Instagram? If not, stop fucking scrolling Instagram, right? Like, and then do that with Facebook, right? Okay, I just gave you $100,000 a year just then because I took away those 2 fucking, tasks that are busy. And you're like, oh, but I get clients through Instagram. It's like, congratulations, but you're not at a stage of your business right now where you should be scrolling fucking Instagram and Facebook. Just put a fucking ad up, let the leads come into your inbox, start calling. That's at the stage of your business you're at.
Just measure it as well. All right, you get clients from Instagram. How many clients did you get in the last month? All right, I got 2 clients in the last month. All right, you spent 7 hours a week on Instagram. Times 4 weeks is 28 to 30 hours. So you got 2 clients from 30 hours of work. So that's 15 hours per client. You're telling me that you could do sales calls for 15 hours and you'd get less than 1 client? No chance. If you do sales calls for 15 hours, you're going to get way more than 1 client. So it's like recognizing the highest and best use of your time.
It's because social media is sexy, mate. That's the thing, right? Like, people want to have the followers, and there's nothing wrong with having followers, guys. Like, it's not. This is not what I'm saying. But if you're not currently doing $1 million, you're focusing on the wrong stuff. Like, imagine if you spent 30 hours a month walking the streets and offering like an intro package of sessions. You would get a minimum of 30 clients coming in for your intro pack just by walking the streets. Like, I've done this, guys, trust me. And it's like minimum 30. I would say you probably get maybe 3 an hour, but let's just say you're hopeless at it and you get 1 an hour. That's 30 people trialing you out. You probably get 15 clients. You're getting 15 clients a week from your 15 clients a month from your social. Probably not. Like, and if you are, keep doing it. But if you're not, then you need to do something else, right? At the same time, you can set an ad up in like 2 hours, build your landing page, set an ad up, like turn that motherfucker on, and all of a sudden you'll get 30 clients that way too. But then all of a sudden, we're taking 30 down to 28 hours. Now, in those 28 hours, you're also going to go walk the streets. You'll get 30 from a Facebook or Instagram ad. You'll get 30 from walking the streets. Now you got 60, and you keep 30. And then at the same time, you had the 30 hours of scrolling. Now you've got actually 30 clients in those 30 hours because you change not how hard you're working, but how smart you're working.
I mean, we teach like you don't even need to have a landing page, so that cuts down the hours even more, right?
100%.
But oh man, that usage app's game changer, right, on the phone. Like, that's if people don't know that, but on the iPhone, the new update, like it'll automatically have it already. You just go into your settings and it'll give you your usage. But yeah, I worked out that it told me I had 8 hours a week just on scrolling apps. So on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. And so when I realized that, we're only awake 16 hours each day if we sleep 8 hours, and we're only awake 16 hours each day, that means every 2 weeks I'm spending 16 hours scrolling. So every 2 weeks I miss a day. So I'm only living 13 out of every 14 days. Like if you add that up over the course of a lifetime, which I did because I'm like a numbers guy, I worked out that I'd be scrolling for like 5 years. Like 5 years of my life, will be spent scrolling. Like that scared the shit out of me. I'm just
Probably
like
wear your thumb down.
Carpal tunnel. But it's like imagine getting sentenced to prison and been like for 5 years, and you have to sit there and you have to scroll for 5 years straight, solitary confinement. You're not allowed to do anything for 5 years. But like this is what we're voluntarily doing, like over this time. And so for me, I'm like immediately just deleted all my apps, like all social apps. I just like that scared the shit out of me. I couldn't handle that. Like I'm happy to do some downtime. Like my guilty pleasure is Reddit. Like I really like Reddit because I feel like I learn some things as well. It's like I'm not following like just visual images of like sexy people on Instagram or whatever. So like that's my
Man,
guilty pleasure at night.
I only do that. I only do that because I'm a fitness professional and it's part of my job.
Yeah, like you tell Liv, you have to like all the boobies and ass shots because it improves your Instagram reach and algorithm.
It's all about the algorithm, man. It's all about the algorithm. Just a puppet to this. I mean, like in the rat race, right? And I just gotta like those TNA shots.
Does it actually work? Does the more liking actually does increase your reach?
It does, man. If you comment on photos, if you like on photos, the more you engage, the higher you rank up in there. But like, I don't know. I talked to our Instagram guy about it. He's like, just keep liking photos, keep commenting, and it will help you out. I'm like, okay, it's working, right? I grow by about 200-300 followers a week. So something's working. So let's just keep on the game. And, I do it I'm doing it for the game.
Doing it for the life.
It's not because I like the TNA. Trust me.
Trust me. All right, man. We've covered a fair bit. We've covered like the not to do list. Is there anything else people should not do in 2019?
Stop procrastinating. Like, done is better than perfect. Like, I put a post on my IG the other night, like about this. Like, people need to actually just get more shit done in 2019. People are trying to wait for the perfect moment or like open the gym, the perfect equipment. Guys, I opened up my gym with like half the place full of equipment, half the place not, because I couldn't afford it all. It's like, get a fucking life. Like, you don't need to have the perfect stuff. You don't need the Alico plates. Like, that means you're doing it for you and not them. Like, they don't care. Like, majority of people, depends on the gym again, but I'm talking like I'm talking not the specifics right now. I'm talking generalized. People don't care about the type of equipment that you have in your gym. They just want to feel good and they want to have a good experience. Remember, we talked about this before. So get it done. Get the content out there, right? 1 is greater than 0. So get the content out there, open the gym, make the content. Like, I scroll back through my YouTube and the guys were like, oh, let's put out these YouTubes from like 5 years ago when you were business coaching. I was like, man, I don't know. Like, it's content was okay, but I don't know about that video but I used to just get it done. And I talked a lot slower. I feel like I try and get more information out now than I used to. And I was like, but that's okay. Maybe I'm just like kids. I'm trying to get everything done as fast as I possibly can right now. But like, they're putting this out. It's like, content from the archives. But like, I've been coaching for like 6 years, coaching businesses whilst growing RBT. I think that's one of the biggest reasons we want to get it out there. It's like, I've been saying the same stuff for 6 years. So it's not fucking rocket science, guys. Like, if you go back and you watch my stuff from like 6 years ago, it's the same thing. I used to say, it's like, I'm talking 28-day challenges. I'm talking like solve problems, not sell products. I'm talking like take action. I'm talking get 3 leads a day, make 1 sale a day minimum. Get 24 leads a week. Make your 50% sales and 50% upsells. Have a product that's worthy of someone paying you a decent amount of money. Show up every single day. Be the athlete, not the amateur who tries to wait for motivation to come. Like, I've been talking about for years. And some people have listened and they're making millions of dollars right now. And some people think that there's a hidden secret that I'm not telling them. And it's like, no, the hidden secret is do the work.
Have you ever put out content, like one video Any kind of content that you've regretted?
Um,
Because
Not
that's the fear,
really.
right? That's
Like, I honestly, yeah. I'm just trying to think, man. I don't think I really have. Like, I get harassed. I get trolled daily on my content. Like every day, I get trolls, man. Like, I broke out like the last couple of days, like because I've been in the sun. Like I break out sometimes when I go in the sun a lot. So like literally on my face, like I have a couple little spots, and like before doing this, I'll be like, okay, that's what the trolls are going to focus on today. For whoever's watching videos, like I just know what they're going to focus on. If not, I'll look down and people will start saying, "Hey, you're bald." I was like, "Okay, no worries." It's like, "Why should I listen to you? You're bald." I'm like, "I'm not bald, but thank you." But like that's what they focus on. But that's them focusing on like we're giving out content right now. We're producing to try and serve, but they are in such a bad place in their life. They have to focus on the one thing that makes them feel better because them listening to you is going, oh fuck. They start to they second guess themselves. Like maybe I should be doing more, or maybe I can do more. It's like, nah, fuck that, fuck him. He's bald. Fuck him. Like that's what they have to switch to. But it's funny, man. Like I've never actually regretted a piece of content, and also when I look back, like I regret sometimes who I am in the content, 100%. I like because I've like fluctuated in weight the last couple of years. Sometimes I let stress get the best of me, or I'm like, okay, like I wasn't the best version of myself then, but I like it because I reflect back and I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to be like that again. I don't want to make excuses or microliezer around my training or my health. I don't want to say that you can only focus on. I'm not a one-dimensional person. And at times I was like two-dimensional. I was like wife, or I was like business, and I was kids, or I was just like wife and business. But it's like no, like I'm a fit motherfucker. I enjoy being lean. I enjoy being a great husband who loves their wife. I enjoy showing up for date night every single week. I enjoy being there for my kids. With the taekwondo, with the gymnastics. Like I enjoy the coffees in the morning, and I enjoy showing up for my team as I lead through the three companies, the 100+ employees, the $15 million worth of revenue. I enjoy that too. Like I enjoy every aspect of my life. I'm not one-dimensional. I'm not two-dimensional. I'm not three-dimensional. I'm four-dimensional, right? And that's, I'm probably more. Let's hope I can. But with that, that's what I like to reflect on when I look back. I didn't, go, oh, fuck, that piece of content was shit. I'm like, that was good content, but I could have delivered it better. I could have been better when I did it. And that's why actually I like creating content. It allows me to reflect back 2 years ago and also pat myself on the back and go, yeah, man, like you're becoming the person you need to be. Like you actually are, going to the next level, or you're actually achieving your potential in life. But I would never be me now. And I'm not perfect, but I'd never be me now if I wasn't me then. And I'm chasing me 3 years from now. And I'll never become that person if I'm not, the person I am today. And I think that's what we always have to do. Is like chase you 3 years from now. Chase the version of you who's 3 years from now. And that's who you're competing against every single day.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of your close friends and family like genuinely want to see you succeed. And I think it's just human nature. We do want to see others around us succeed because then it helps our own story in our own head go, well, if he can do that, then I can. That's why we love the underdog, right? That's why we love like different athletes that achieve the underdog success story. And it's always great looking at people's content, like people who blew up on YouTube and going back and saying, I love going watching their first video, because you can go onto the YouTube channel and you can go to their uploads, and then you can sort by oldest to newest, and you can see like where they started. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that. Like I think a lot of people really enjoy seeing how far someone's come, and it's really comforting to see that when they started, it was a really shit first video, and like they were stuttering on camera, and like they were kind of like a bit awkward and maybe a bit fat because they hadn't got their whole life sorted yet. But it doesn't matter. It's like really awesome to watch. And maybe it was only like 12 people watching, but like what we said, like they were putting all of that behind them, and they're just trying to serve people first. And I mean, that's what we figured out with this podcast, this show, right? Because the whole idea of this show is we're trying to create like the most amount of value for people possible. And we're just like, how can we make this more valuable? How can we get this even more valuable to people? And we realized that we were letting, production and quality and all that sort of stuff get in the way of actually just serving and actually just having really deep, meaningful conversations, not trying to like squeeze a tip into a Facebook ad, so we can funnel someone into our funnel, but like literally just breaking down and reverse engineering, your mind and Liv's mind, and like reverse engineering success at the deepest level. And we realized like, yeah, fuck all the fancy cameras and everything. Like, let's just do this, make sure it's enjoyable to people listen to. Like, that's why we've got these fancy microphones. But besides that, like, that's all we need. Like, we just need to get it out there, and we need to make sure that we're serving people every single week.
I think people get overwhelmed in the complexity when, like, I'm a super simple person. Like simple works. I think complex tactics don't. And also, like you were saying before, like, just keep showing up. Like, I don't care if one person listens to this or a fucking 1,000 people listen to this, if I impact that one person. And when people say to me all the time, it's like, oh, I'm going to open up a new time slot, I'm going to open a gym, like, how many time slots should I have? I'm like, open up the time slots, 3 in the morning and fucking 3 at night. They're like, oh, what if there's like only like one person or 2 people in that like 7 a.m. session? I'm like, then make it really fucking good, because there's only 1 or 2 people. Like, that's okay. Like last year, and it's happened, last year, it's happened the year before, like, it doesn't matter if I'm flying around the world, or if I'm flying to Sydney, or if I'm doing a seminar in Melbourne. Sometimes I'll do a seminar, like, just the marketing didn't work, or just, the stars didn't align. And I'm doing a seminar to like 2 people. I'm like, all right, I'm jumping on a plane to Sydney to if I can do a seminar to 2 people. I'm going to rock their world. Instead, like, you could lose your mind or just go, no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, no, like, clearly, like, your integrity matters. Show up, respect them, okay, and give them the best seminar of their life, or, show up, train them, and give them the best session of their life. And if you do that, word of mouth will spread and your marketing will get better. It will happen. You'll get momentum. And the more and more you do that seminar, the more and more you do that training session, the more confident you are in doing that training session, the more confident you are at speaking, the more confident you are at selling, the more confident you are at problem solving. Like, that 10,000 hour rule actually works. And it might not even be 10,000 hours, but it's obviously Malcolm Gladwell popularized the 10,000 hour rule. But time under the bar, just like if you're in the gym, time in front of the stage when you're doing the seminar, time in front of the group when you're doing the group coaching, like, time matters. And it's not going to be perfect the first time, but in 10,000 hours, you're going to be a hell of a lot fucking better than the start.
Yeah, that's spot on. And I think we were talking about this before, but like your self-talk. I'm reading Dave Goggins' book at the moment, and like it's so cool. Like all his stuff, like he put himself through crazy torture, Navy SEAL, all that sort of stuff. But it's like they asked him like, how did you get through all this pain? And he says, because I'm a badass motherfucker. Like, I told myself that. Like, I'm the baddest motherfucker. No one's ever done what I'm doing right now. Like, no one. Like, I've proved it over and over again. And he did that every day by showing up and putting himself through suffering and proving to himself just how bad he is and like how much of a badass he is. And because he did that over and over again, when he was faced with like new challenges, he was able to get through it, and he was able to push through it like so easily. And we're talking about like what people need to do, what they need to do to show up each day, what they need to do with content. It's about reinforcing to yourself that you're a badass motherfucker. It's not reinforcing to yourself that you're weak and that you always fail and that you always stuff up, because something like we always stuff up. We always will have failures, but there's failures that you genuinely didn't know something was going to happen and you learn a lesson, or there's failures because you just let your mindset get in the way and you just didn't do what you're going to do. And that's the difference, right? And you talked about integrity around, like, integrity is such a big thing for you. And I really want to talk about the seminar over in the States. Can we talk about that story? Because like that's a huge thing about integrity, right? And if you didn't do what you did in that seminar, like that flows on to the next time you're facing a difficult decision. But like, yeah, tell the story because it's a freaking amazing story. It's full on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I guess for me, like integrity is everything. Honesty, integrity, like these are two things. Like when we're looking at values, like they are everything for me. Like don't fucking lie to me and have integrity in yourself. And integrity, if I say I'm going to do something, like do what you said you would do, like that's me. And I try not to lie to myself, and I definitely don't fucking lie to others. So when I'm looking at this, like we were doing a seminar. I had like 20 people bought a $97 ticket in Toronto. We weren't going to do it in Toronto, and I said to Liv, like, I used to live in Toronto. Let's go back there. Let's do a seminar. We're sitting in Mexico at the time. We're like, okay, let's do it. Liv booked some tickets. We flew up to LA. We're at LAX. It's like, I dislike LAX, like between the terminals. Like, I know some people might like it. I don't. And like we rocked up at Air Canada and they're like, man, like, no, your flight was booked through US Airlines. I'm like, yeah, but we're flying through you. Like, you don't have a seat on our flight. It was booked through US Airlines. They're like, you have to go talk to them. It was on the other terminal. So we hopped on this bus. We're going to the other terminal. You rocked up to US Airlines. They're like, yeah, you have a ticket on our books. Like, go back over there and like take them this ticket and then you'll get on the plane. And we're like, okay, back on the bus, back over to Air Canada. They're like, guys, you don't have a ticket. I'm like, you guys have to fucking communicate because this is ridiculous for us. Back and forth another 2 times. We didn't have a ticket, and the Air Canada guys is like, I don't care what US Airlines say, you're not getting on this flight to get to Toronto. You can buy another ticket and fly through like Chicago, I think it was at the time, to get to Toronto, but you're not going to get there tonight. You're going to get there tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. instead. I was like, guys, like, or I could fly and get there at like 11 a.m. I was like, I've got a seminar tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I was like, there's 20 people. We're already like, it's costing us like, $1,000 for the hotel room. It was costing us like, it cost us a little bit of marketing. It was costing us already like $6,000 to fly there. And I was like, fuck, okay. I need to get there. I don't care if it's going to cost me more money because these 20 people are going to show up and I want to change their life. They're like, sir, it's going to cost you $6,500 for me and Liv to fly there. I looked at Liv. I was like, motherfuckers. I was like, they knew that I was in a bind because I'm not like, I'm going to put the seminar off. No, like these 20 people were turning up for me to help them with their business. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I spent another $6,500 to fly through Chicago up to Toronto to arrive at 6 a.m. We were like 14,000 behind at this stage on this seminar to do a seminar to 20 people who paid us $97 each. And I'm like, holy shit. I rocked up at 6 a.m. I got picked up by a mate, and like my mate wanted to pick up another guy on the way through. So we're like in traffic for like 2 hours to try and get to the hotel room. I rocked up in the car park. I was like, fuck, I need to get changed. So I'm like getting changed. I was like in my underwear in the car park, pulling my pants on, putting my shirt on, get my polo on. I hop in the lift, turn up. Everyone's like basically sitting there as I walk in. I was like, fuck, I did not sleep last night. And I got changed in the car park. And it's like, bang, you're like, but again, like, you don't wait for motivation. If you're an athlete, you just show up and you get the job done, right? I was there to serve people. And for me, like, I'm actually quite introverted. So doing seminars takes so much energy for me. But I put on a show, right? Like the same as when I'm a trainer, I put on a show. I want to make sure I can elevate their mood and I can give them everything they needed. At the end of the day, we had an $8,000 product back then that was an 8-week incubator, as we used to help these businesses in 8 weeks, these fitness businesses make $16,000, or we personally would double their money back. So we were out of pocket. It's a great offer, right? So at the end of that, out of the 20 people who got there, 12 of them bought our essentially $8,000 product. So we made $96,000 that day. Didn't make $100K, made $96,000 that one day. So we weren't 12,000 behind. We were like, $84,000 up. But we were only going to be $84,000 up because we did what we said we're going to do. We had the integrity no matter what. Even if I stayed 10,000 down or 12,000 down, it's irrelevant. I will show up. I will serve, and I will change lives. And I think if you take that sort of mentality into it, it's like, I don't care. I'm going to show up. I'm going to change lives. You're bound to make money. Like the money is just like it eventuates into your life. And I think if more of us in 2019 can do that, then like your business is going to fucking flourish.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, even if you got there and then like no one turned up, or one person turned up and you didn't buy, and then you were faced with the same decision like a month later where you had to spend like another 15, you were 15 grand down. The point is you would do the same thing. And I think like so many people read into like micro results too early. Oh, the thing that I'm doing, this content that I'm producing, that I'm serving, or this ad that I'm running isn't getting me the results that I want. So I'm going to turn it off because I'm trying to cut my losses. I'm trying to play small, right? So like you could have cut your losses at 15 grand down. You could have been like, nah, this is enough. This is too much. I'm going to cut my losses. But instead, you focused on what was more important. And then in reality, it ended up being way more beneficial. You ended up $96,000 up or whatever, or 96 minus 15 or whatever, $80,000 up. It doesn't matter. The point is that because you didn't have that playing small mindset, you got rewarded for it. And as you've said, like it happens so often that when you put others first and you aren't trying to play small, you're not trying to cut your losses, you're not trying to like turn off your ads because, a few of the leads didn't pick up. I think that's like a really massive thing that I've learned, like being so close with the RBT marketing, is that you guys are just running ads nonstop, like nonstop. And that's the difference between the people that we see that succeed in 2018, the people that are going to succeed in 2019. They're running ads nonstop. Even if cost per lead start blowing out, they don't cut their losses and go, oh, I need to minimize my costs. I need to cut back, because that's like a scarcity mindset. You guys go, no, keep them running. Keep them running.
Yeah, man, because we understand self-liquidating marketing, right? We understand that even if it's $40 a lead, and it's not, sometimes it is, but fuck. And it costs me $80 to acquire a customer, I'm making 200. So I'm still up. If it cost me 200 to acquire a customer, if it did, like it's okay, because I know I sell 1 in 2 into a $3,000 product or $3,000 service. So for anyone out there, if you don't know your numbers in 2019, know your fucking numbers, because that's what gives you clarity. It's what gives you confidence to actually spend money on the casino with, that is Facebook. And when you know how to play the casino, like it's like being able to read cards. Right. It's like, being able to understand, like, luckily I don't get kicked out of the casino or Facebook, like Zuckerberg likes me. But it's like, people get kicked out of the casino when they can read cards because they're gaming the system. I literally game the system of Facebook because I know that every dollar I spend, I get $4 back in profit straight away. And then after that, I get back like $1,500 on top of that. So like, why would I ever stop spending money if I'm guaranteed a 4-to-1 return on the front end? Why would I fucking go to the races and try and bet on a horse that might not win? I'd rather spend that $100 and, buy myself another client. I would rather do that every single day of the week. I will spend $30,000. I will spend $40,000 on marketing every single month. I'll spend like $60,000. I spent, $80,000 this January on marketing, and we got a $3 million return. Like that's good. That's a good ROI. And you don't have to spend 80,000, guys. You could spend 80 and get a $3,000 return. Like that's okay as well. And if you do that every week, like your business is making 150K worth of new clients every single year. Like that would be great as well. But, if you did that, then why wouldn't you spend 160? And then why wouldn't you spend, 320? And you slowly just up your marketing. The more and more certainty you get, the more and more ROI you have, the more and more cash in the bank that you'll have. And guys, like, get a fucking credit card, get someone to help you do it right. And like, then all of a sudden, before you have to pay your credit card in like 50 days, you've bought yourself like 30 clients, and you're not in the red, you're in the black, and you're making money on it. And you're not personally out of pocket. You don't even have to pay the interest on it. Now, guys, Don't start if you don't do it right and start making money. You got a fucking credit card. You got to pay your bills. Don't say TJ made me lose money. Like, I don't want you to go down that route. Like, get someone, like I said, get someone who can tell you exactly what to do, so you have the complete certainty, and go buy some clients, because that's what you're doing. You're buying clients.
Yeah, 100%. And the way Facebook works is they give you like almost like an advance on ad spend before you actually have to pay them. So even if you're a brand new advertiser, like Facebook will give you like $150, maybe even $300 to advertise. Sure, you have to put in a debit card in order to get it started. But once you start advertising, those ads will run. And then once you've hit $150 in ad spend or $300 in ad spend, those ads will turn off, and Facebook will like turn off your ads. But you don't have to pay Facebook back for like 6 months if you don't have the money. But you can use that $300 to get like 3 or 4 like good quality leads, sell them, 2 of them into like your long-term service, and within 2 months, you'll be earning like $1,000 to $2,000 off those 2 clients. And then you can use that to pay that $300 bill that you had on Facebook at the very start. And then you just do it again and do the same process again. Like now, we get nearly $1,000 per billing cycle. So we can spend up to $1,000 before we have to pay Facebook back. And that's works so well, right? Because like what amount of clients can we generate from $1,000? Like, it's pretty awesome that we can do that. And I guess that's the other thing is like I come from different industries as well, not just the fitness industries. And like, personal trainers are so spoiled, man. Like gyms are so spoiled. Like I can't think of any other industry where you can acquire a client and immediately get them paying you more than what it costs to acquire that client. Like, working with insurance industries, like where people will take like a $20,000 to $30,000 loss to acquire a client, because they know over the course of like 5-10 years they'll earn that money back. And it's just like that in that world, like that makes sense. That's smart business. Whereas personal trainers, like, I only made I got a $90 client and it cost me $85. It's too expensive. And it's like, are you kidding? Like, you've liquidated like this client acquisition. Like, there's not any industries out there that can do that. So just like, if you're listening, change your mindset. You don't realize how good you've got it, and you don't realize that in 2019 it's probably going to go away. Like, it's probably going to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, 2019 is probably the last year that personal trainers and gym owners are going to be able to acquire clients for less than $100. That's just my big prediction with Facebook and where it's going.
I completely agree, man.
I think we might wrap it up there, man. But as Trav was saying, if you want to get 2019 to the next level, you want the accountability. This is exactly what we offer. But you know what? If you're not ready to join our programs, if you just want to have a discussion and just want to hear around like what kind of marketing we run, so that we know that if you spend $100 to $200 on ads, you get a couple of clients in, book a call. We'll put a little link underneath this box, and we'll also give you a URL that you can visit. You can see all the happy testimonials, all the other gym owners from around the world that have created clients using our systems. We're just using the exact systems that we use with RBT. There's 21 gyms. They're all profitable. They've all got heaps of clients. You can literally go to every single one of those gyms and check them out. And we're just teaching you guys what we're already doing and what's working. So if you want to have a conversation with us, book a call. We'll chat to you. We'll tell you what's working, what's going to work in 2019, and we'll be able to give you some clarity on how to improve your 2018 results.
Yeah, so true, guys. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.
Awesome, guys. Talk then.